Hey everybody, Jamie Starr for the New World News Network. Today I'm doing a follow-up to the video I put out yesterday because I did do it kind of haphazard and in a bit of a rush, so maybe I didn't verbalize my bigger overall points, especially my criticism of Lauren, whatever her name is. To put it simply, she is the right-wing AOC. Her purpose, and she isn't even in office, but if she ever gets in office, her purpose is just, like Twitter outrage, hyping up the base to actually accomplish and do nothing. You can tell this in the way that she views everything as monoliths. Um, Completely illiterate is to historical history, historical context, political history. I mean, just knows nothing about anything. Her whole view on absolutely everything is very vapid, surface level, shallow politics. And you can tell this. And the other thing is it's just straight up right-wing NPC behavior. There is talking points, like the same way you can, go up to a left winger and hear them talk about abortion, and then you already know their takes on climate change and everything else. It's that on the right, where there's a set of talking points, and if you present something, they just go right into the talking points. What you've said isn't factored in. They don't even know who you are. And I'm going to show you the comments I've received on this video, and it completely illustrates my point as to why this will be ineffective. These people don't understand anything about where we are, how we got here, anything like that whatsoever. And this is a real problem because these people have woken up to politics 2 minutes ago and think they have the solution for anything. So, and it's that's why it's all just this like trans this, trans that, trans. I mean, this is final phase stuff, and they're acting like this is just. I mean, this is something that's been here for like almost a century, and now that it's unmasked, they really are just saying put the mask back on, please. They don't know anything about the Republican Party. What they believe about the Republican Party is the left's caricature of it. That's the main problem. These people, and to some extent they've acknowledged it, they are leftist. They are functioning within the left's framework, and when you try to ask them, why are you within this framework in the first place? They say, well, if we don't, we're going to lose. So you have to play the left's game to beat the left instead of just not playing the game or making your own game. Or so anyway, let's get into some of the comments because this shit is so stupid. And like the same way I said, you're going to have these LGBTQ whatever people to just say, okay, well, if the right obviously doesn't want me, then I'm going to vote left. If this is the future of the right wing, I'm just going to go back to not voting because I don't want any part of this stupid shit where people are trying to co-opt a party because they think the party was something it never was. So let's get into some of this. Lauren's reasoning is, I assume they're saying trannies in sports, which I'm against. See, here's the other problem with these people. You could be agreeing with them, but if you point out, like, hey, you're missing the mark as to how this happened or anything like that, well, then you get this, you centrist cucks have failed to restrain the left, so we need to do it. Like, the the fact that this is where it's gotten has shown that like you failed, so now we need to. Well, what were you doing in the first place? Why do you think I was your first line of defense, you moron? I don't want anything to do with whatever you're doing or them, so I'm going to sit this out and live my happy life, and you guys can be miserable together. How about that? Like, I mean, that's just the insane part about it, is it's set in this binary of like, well, we have to live under this institutional authority, and because we have to live under it, we can't have the left controlling things, so we need to control it with an iron fist. And it's like, why are we living under this in the first place? No one's asking that question. It's all under the premise of everything that is has to be. So of course I respond, because this person, I mean, for anyone that's listened to my politics, if for a moment would know I'm not a centrist by any stretch whatsoever. So that shows you the level of just pre-programmed response, that there's no thinking going on here. There's no thoughts. This is just Twitter NPC back and forth. So I said centrist. I want a good 90% of the government shut down and everything handled by the states. That's not a center position. And then I point out, but you are just like her, talking to some sort of straw man you've created in your imagination. Your imagination to pick a fight with, because you... This always happens where I get a message and then my thought process is just shot. Sorry. But you're talking some sort of straw man you've created in your imagination to pick a fight with, because you have nothing of substance to contribute. The left social engineers through institution building, not elections. Politics is downstream from culture. You don't create culture with lawyers, moron. So this is again why it's this whole idea and way forward and all that is completely ineffective, because it's not versatile, it's not adaptable. It is set for this Twitter battle bullshit, where it's, if you say this, I'm then presuming to know X, Y, and Z about you, because my arguments are only set to battle X, Y, and Z. It's just not, So anyway, then I point out the institution thing, which this is, again, my main problem with what they were talking about in the video, is there's this over-conflation of everything, but especially politics and culture. So, and then it's again me. Yeah, you want to atomize America so these communists can deal with smaller and smaller groups of actual Americans. It's called displacement, and you have zero empathy or care. Excuse me? Here's the better one. At this point, I see continual encroachment of the diversity empire conquering us in all European countries. You wanted multiculturalism. Well, then we're gonna bring it. I'm moving to Tennessee. That's like 98% white. Who are you talking to? I want atomized people. No. I said I want states running things. I want more local communities. This is, again, they're functioning under this premise that we need America to be a monolith. And no, I'm saying more minding your own business is actually the better way to do things. Less state schools, no state school curriculum, no federal school curriculum. Like, I want the complete opposite of what this person is claiming I want. Anyone who's watched any of my other videos could easily pick that up. But what I say, because I don't play into this whole race game, if you're asking me who's my community is musicians, artists, conspiracy theorists. I was in the hardcore scene for a while. Like, I've always been more of a hardcore kid than a white guy. Like, but that's a culture built upon something. So, and then even, like, who is it? Fucking, oh god, I can't think of his name. He wrote the book, the Revolutionary Jewish Spirit or whatever. oh, I'm from South Bend, Indiana. But like he even says this whole idea of a white culture and all that, it's nonsense. There's Christian culture, which you can have. So again, I'm in support of all of that. This idea that I'm all for like open borders and multicultural, I don't know. I don't understand that. And besides that, Mexicans and Hispanics are huge in Christian culture. So this again, these arguments are not even like based in reality or flexible, or it's this just the straw man, the straw man, the straw man. Oh, well, if you don't agree, if you don't recite the talking points, you must be. It's the same way with the left. If there's anyone left of Bernie, they're suddenly far right, whatever. That's what this is. If you're not repeating their, I don't know, like I mean, it's so hard to even wrap my head around, because I'm against the things they're claiming I'm for. I never even said anything vaguely referencing that I'm for this stuff, but yet these arguments are just unloaded because they don't have anything legitimate to say. So then he says, you destroy cultures with lawyers. No, lawyers create laws. See, here, this is what I was saying about Final Step. The culture has been eroded to the point that the lawyers are just codifying and cementing it. That's the reality of the situation. Hollywood scripts are not written by lawyers, buddy. Hollywood is creating your culture. The schools are creating your culture. The lawyers are creating laws. They are just cementing it. They are the final step. Politics is downstream from culture. So that's what leftist lawyers did when they forced civil rights tranny onto this country, and it is tranny, although lawyers and selective enforcement. I mean, these aren't even coherent sentences, which is again why, like, I mean, just yelling tranny, whatever. Tulsi Gabbard's trying to stop trannies in sports, and she's on the left. So, I mean, it's like, and here's the thing is, the people that are doing this aren't trans, they're straight. Like, so it's again, it's such a, like, I don't even know what their solution is, because okay, you, like, what, purge the right wing of LGBT whatever stuff, even though the right wing LGBT whatever people are against trans people in sports, and somehow getting rid of them is going to help you beat the left. Like, it's all nonsense. There really isn't like a battle plan or anything to this. It is just Twitter outrage hype to get people worked up and to feel like they're accomplishing something. It's this AOC style politics. So here are my responses, and this is what I said about the cultural illiterate nonsense. I said, yes, but that still doesn't explain why you and her, I feel like there was a remark from last night that I'm not seeing in here. I said, yes, but that still doesn't explain why you think a political party founded by a gay man, Abraham Lincoln, lived in a log cabin, that means he was gay, log cabin Republicans, so on and so forth. There were other comments. I'm gonna have to see where they went, because there was one where he pointed out a time and just said, what stupid is this, or something. I know it was 13 minutes in exactly, so maybe we'll check that. So it said, still doesn't explain why you think a political party founded by a gay man, Lincoln, the party of Bohemian Grove, where all the politicians go and cross-dress and all this other stuff, the party of the Nixon-Bush callboy scandal, is the party of the religious right. In a country founded by a bunch of cross-dressing men in lavender-scented powdered wigs and stockings like Mrs. Doubtfire, they were pandering to the right the same way you don't want them pandering to LGBTQ, they never reflected the values of the base. Let me repeat that. They never reflected the values of the base. Well, like, that's the reality of the situation. The Christian conservatives that vote Republican because they thought, they were going to, I don't know, codify Christian principles into laws, you're schmucks. That's the reality of the situation. You're schmucks. And you've been fed a lie by the left that the right wing is some ultra religious whatever party, and that's what they need to fight. So because you've bought into their lie, you now figure you're going to join this party that isn't what you think it is, isn't what you've been told it is, and again, ineffective. So I said, and when people, mostly 30-year-olds and under, don't know this history and keep saying we need to restore the Republican Party, they are talking about restoring it to something that it never was. And that's the reality of the situation. Now, the base may vote that way, but that's because they're being taken for a ride. It's not because they ever planned on representing those views or anything having to do with that or no. You don't know the history of the party. You don't know what the party is really about. You don't know the people involved. And the people that you seem to think are the shining examples of something good are the losers of the party. So, the other point I make, and this is again where are we? This is final phase. You're at the end here, buddy. What I'm actually saying is if your culture was half as great as you think it was, because again, you can't point to a point in time like, oh, what do you want to go back to? The 1950s? Marlon Brando was gay. Elvis was gay. Again, all of your culture at that point that you think was also, conservative and straight white male was all being fed to you by closeted gays. Facts of the matter. There's no point. Why were the founding fathers cross-dressing? Why was that the cultural norm? Why was it? Why do this has to do with the elites? Like, the elites always engage in this behavior, and they are just now pushing it towards the masses because that's what happens in the final phases of empire. This is so far outside of trannies in sports. Trannies in sports is not the problem, it is the symptom. It is a symptom of a much bigger problem, which is what I'm saying. If your culture was half as great as you think it was, you would never have lost to the left in the first place. Period. If your culture was so great, anytime there was a Modern Family or a gay thing on TV, no one would have watched. The ratings would have been done. It wouldn't. It's like the get woke, go broke thing, but they didn't go broke. They were able to get away with it, and then they got away with it some more, and then they got away with it some more, and now it's going full speed, and you don't seem to realize that your culture, at whatever peak height you think it was at, was not capable of withstanding it. So the problem isn't the left. The problem is the right. The problem is the right and the fact that they don't have a culture. You can't tell me your culture is better when you don't have one. That's the reality of it. Oh, what, you have some B-rate fucking Christian film channel or something? Hallmark movies plus Jesus? I mean, even the most Bible-thumping people you can imagine can't stand watching that garbage. That's why you're losing. And just getting outraged about someone cross-dressing is not going to do anything about that. And again, here's the funny part about it. Daily Wire is addressing this stuff, but I guarantee you, Daily Wire is on these people's shit list because they're, I don't know, a little too okay with an immigration policy you don't like or something. So, again, this mindset is just going to be completely ineffectual. because you're so close-minded and cut off from everything and unwilling to be aware of what the actual issue at hand is. So then I say, you don't seem to get we are in the end of the battle, not the beginning. Look at how red the voting map is and how blue your culture is. Why is that? And it's like I said, because there is no culture. You can easily overtake something that isn't there. There's a void. There is a vacuum. That's what happened. It wasn't a power vacuum. It was a culture vacuum. And the left filled that vacuum to the point where you can't stop them from anything. The problem is really your whole premise is based on assuming someone has to rule over you and it's who you want it to be or communists. It's really pathetic. So yeah, there was a comment on here that is missing because there was a point I made to them where I said, yeah, they must have removed it and hence removing the reply, which is funny because it obviously shows that something they said must have embarrassed them. Oh yeah, here's some of them. I don't know why we're not seeing them here. Stand up or be rolled over, whatever that means. So one of the remarks I made is about this mindset is this is very much the mindset of, you know, COVID-19, the schools are shut down, the kids are being denied their education, and they're going to be behind, and this and that. And then in the next breath, they say, the schools are indoctrinating our children into leftist propaganda, LGBT, whatever. Like, that's the problem, is that you are saying, this institution is bad, it's corrupting everything, it's eroding America and its values, and then you turn around and complain that you can't send your kids to be educated by the enemy. So what, you're going to take over the school systems and take it back? Like, have you not heard of the long march through the institutions? The left worked on this for decades, and you think what? An election's gonna fix it? Yelling about trannies is gonna do something about power that's been usurped over decades? I mean, that's the insanity of it. And that's why these people don't like someone like me. Because it's not like I disagree with them. It's just that I'm telling them the facts of the matter, that you're not cut out for this. You're not cut out for, I mean, how long have I been doing this channel? I've been engaged in politics since the trade towers came down and have had basically the same positions the whole time. That the whole thing is corrupt and all needs to be gotten rid of. But I'm a centrist cuck. I mean, it's just they think that there's some sort of easy fix here when this wasn't a overnight change or anything like that. And again, what they believe the Republican Party to be, or think it was at some point, is not reality. It was a lie created by the left to create controlled opposition that they've now bought into. I mean, that's again the troubling part, is these people are trying to they're trying to manifest the left's lies into reality because they think that's the way to fight the left. So it's insane. So let's check out, what was I saying around 13 minutes into this that this person's got a problem with? Oh, but I mean, yeah. What's your? I was looking this stuff up last night. I found a article. Powdered wigs. The concept of powdered wigs emerged in France in the mid-17th century. First man responsible for the trend. Cover is balding as a trend in royalty. an upper class conservative status, people who were among the elites in society. So, in a modern context, we would look at this as these are the people that are drinking baby's blood or whatever. To combat unfortunate odor and unwanted parasites, the wig wearer would powder his wig. The powder was usually made up of fine ground starch and scented with lavender. Why are they doing a cultural custom that creates unwanted odor and unwanted parasites? Little degenerate, if you ask me. Little unsanitary. Oh, and then stockings. I mean, this, like, that's gay as fuck. Like, sorry, that's the reality. That's gay as fuck. Stockings. I mean, why aren't you rocking this shit? Why isn't the conservative movement all about guys growing out their hair? I mean, your founding fathers were a bunch of elitist weirdos. So, this whole idea that this right-wing Abraham Lincoln, I mean, this shit is so stupid. This is, again, politically ignorant shit. Log Cabin Republicans is the organization that works with Republicans to advocate LGBT rights, founded 1977. 1977. This is not a new thing. This is not trannies at CPAC. This is moronic. Abe Lincoln, gay. Sexuality of Abraham Lincoln. Was Lincoln gay? Was Lincoln Washington Post? I mean, come on. These are people that don't know anything about what they're talking about. Their whole content, and I know I'm repeating myself at this point, but the context for everything they're saying is they are buying into the left's lies. The left has lied and created caricatures of Republicans, and these people have decided they want those lies to be reality. So when someone like me, who, again, I support their positions, I'm against, trans people in sports and all that stuff. I probably agree with them on 99%. Like, here's one that's, I'm sure, isn't a centrist position. And I'm sure this is, again, I'm further than these people. I don't think states should be involved in marriages. So there goes your gay marriage with that. I don't think the state should be involved. Period. Full stop. It should only be done in churches. Is that a centrist position? No. Is that the position of these people and whoever else? I know it's not Lauren's position because she's all up on this other chick about the ICE immigration status of her husband. So she's all about the government being involved in marriages and stuff like that. I don't want that. So my solutions: eliminate the problems these people are taking issue with and go a step further. And somehow, because I want to take it a step further, I'm actually the centrist cuck. I mean, isn't that interesting? Like, we can say, here's the middle, you want to take it to here, but because I want to take it over here, you think I'm actually over here. Huh. Maybe you're not engaged with what's actually going on. So yeah, and you can find, like, Elvis gay. Was Elvis gay? Nick Adams was his lover. He was very caught up in not wanting to appear limp-wristed or effeminate. Marlon Brando, gay, and he was having a thing. Who's the other one? James Dean. James Dean was gay. Or one of them was more gay than the other. Like, I think they just hooked up and someone wanted a relationship, but they didn't. I mean, it's everyone. Like, these people everyone they think is on their team is probably not. Richard Pryor, gay. All of Black Hollywood, gay. All of Hollywood, gay. Like, So it's I asked the question. Here's one that a lot of people don't know. JFK, gay. Um, we're all told this story of Kennedy being a ladies' man and all this other stuff. And Kennedy may have had a gay experience. Kennedy's gay best friend had his own bedroom in Kennedy's house. John F. Kennedy's gay best friend had his own bedroom in Kennedy's house. So when I make a statement like you haven't had the only straight president you've had in decades is Donald Trump, I'm not just saying that to say it. Kennedy's gay best friend had a bedroom in the White House. He wasn't working there. He didn't have a position. But the lunar module was named after him. Here they are, arm in arm. And this was when? The 50s, the 60s? I mean, you can find, what's this guy's name? Owen Benjamin did a whole thing on this. There's pictures of them kissing. Books written on this, Jack and Lem. Pictures of them with a puppy together. Where's the picture of them slow dancing? Yeah. JFK and his gay best friend. But I mean, come on, let's go back to those 1950s conservative values. Bring it back. I mean, this shit is stupid. Stupid. And that's really what it comes down to, is when someone like me points out these realities of, oh, well, your heroes aren't who you think they are. Then it's suddenly, well, you're a centrist who wants diversity and multiculturalism and a whole bunch of shit that, like, I have no interest in whatsoever. I just think your whole crusade is built on you buying into the left's lies. So, to address those larger issues, there's that.